Welcome to Bold Badass Business, where we bring you the real badasses who are going to make your business soar. And you all, I am so excited today to have all the way from France, Fabienne Fredrickson, who is an incredible entrepreneur. She's been in business, oh my goodness, 24 years. We have the same business birthday. I love that. Fabienne is the author of this amazing book, Leveraged Business, The Leveraged Business, which I will hold up here, which I love. And for those of you who are overwhelmed, today is going to be an incredible journey. In this episode, you're going to learn strategies and hacks and tips that you can use to stop being overwhelmed and stop staying at six figures, to go to seven figures and soar. So Fabienne, I'm thrilled you're here. Fabienne is half French and half American. Bonjour, ça va?
Bonjour. I'm doing well, thank you.
And she also does a retreat, just so you know, in Provence called A Delicious Lifestyle.
I
So at
am
some
in my
point,
farmhouse in Provence right now, direct to
oh,
you.
oh, it looks beautiful.
Thank you.
So yes, I'm jealous.
Mm.
So let's go ahead and open this up. And first of all, Fabienne, I'd love to just ask you, what are you most proud of in your business right now? What are you most proud of that you've
Wh- What
created
I'm
recently?
what I'm most proud of is deepening the message, Barnsley, to women. I work with 99.999% women, and having them see that if they're tired, they do not have to throw the towel in their business. There is a better way. There is a more feminine way where you can scale your business by working less. We'll talk about that today. I know it sounds like thinner thighs in 30 days, but there is a way to work less and make twice as much, but have plenty of downtime. And I've been allowing myself, I've been on the road recently. I did several cities in the US and I just finished a European tour. And I'm really turning up the volume on being unapologetic about women having it all. And we talk about real stuff, and it's been really juicy, lots of tears, lots of laughter. So it's just about turning up the volume on what really matters to women.
I love that. And we've just got this one life, really. So let's make sure that we're living all parts of it and we don't feel unfulfilled in one part, which so often happens to people, you know, and
What
especially to
happens is
women.
a lot of women. I was talking about these about this exact point with women entrepreneurs just the other day in person, and they're like, I've already got too much to do in my business. I'm working evenings and weekends, but then I still have to take care of the kids. Even with a housekeeper, I'm still cleaning the house and I'm still planning all the meals, and it's like five full-time jobs.
Yes,
So, let's not ignore that we put the needs of others before our own every single day.
exactly. And that's the unpaid labor that you're talking about, the domestic stuff, right? I've always said, Fabienne, that the only thing that should be domesticated is a cat.
I like that.
I really wasn't raised to be much of a domestic woman, but there's certain things that are necessary, like eating and,
Yeah.
having some tidiness in
Changing
the
a diaper.
yeah.
Yeah.
But a clean kitchen floor, those of you listening, a clean kitchen floor is not your legacy. Mm-mm. It's not. So Fabian, let's jump. I love that you're deepening your message. I love how it's targeted to women, as you know, mine is too,
Mhm.
because we really need this message. We really do. And women are so stressed out. There's so many related to stress. And, we need people like you to help us, to show us the way so that we can get it all done and still have downtime. So how do you manage this? What are some of your top tips that you want to share today for everyone listening?
One of the things that I've been talking a lot about the last 5 or 6 years is that men and women, and I'm talking like generally, you guys, okay? So I know that there are females who are more masculine and males who are more feminine. I'm talking about energies, right? So the
Right.
feminine energy is an energy that likes to work in collaboration. It likes to attract rather than push. It likes downtime. The masculine energy is very solo, very competitive. And in working with tens of thousands of women over the last 24 years, I've become an accidental expert in, you know, just how women do best because they've let me see vulnerably so much about their business. And of course, I've worked on my business, and we do things differently. We need a different approach to business to be able to succeed. And what I mean by that is, I think that if you think about the fact that women having their own business as a thing hasn't been around for that long,
That's
probably not
right.
more than 40 or 50 years.
Hmm.
But we're playing by, and listen, I just, for the record, I love the masculine. I have a wonderful husband. I'm raising three kids, two of which are gentlemen, and I love the masculine, but I can't work in that environment. And when I speak to women about this, they say, I can't, I don't want to work that hard. I don't need four Italian sports cars in my garage, a Maserati, a Ferrari. I just want downtime. I want freedom. I want to make an impact, and I want to pay myself consistently. And what I've realized is that, and I hope this is useful to those of you who have joined us today, is that women in isolation experience self-doubt.
Hmm. So true. So true. We need other women to buoy us up. Our resilience is not something that comes alone. And I love what you're saying about collaboration. This is proven in all the studies that we are focused on teams, or at least that, as you put it, feminine energy and masculine energy, which, by the way, those of you who are listening who are guys, you can operate in the feminine energy. Women have operated in the masculine energy in the corporate world and burned themselves out for years.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Mm.
so when you understand, especially with people who lead with their hearts, whether feminine or masculine, you will notice that too much isolation and too much drive and too much competition uh, drains us.
Mhm.
And but if you layer on top of that the fact that we are socialized often as women to not be able to say no when people ask us for things, or we put the needs of others before our own, we find that we have so much obligation that when we try to grow our business in between client appointments, in between going, to the soccer game and trying to get dinner on the table, it's really hard to get past, to even get to 10K a month, let alone
Mm.
150 to 200 a year, let alone 100K a month. And so what I've learned is that we need a different recipe, and one that works for us, for our lives, for how we're wired, for our energy levels, and for all of the obligations that we can't say no to in our lives. And it's not about doing more. From working with these thousands and thousands of women, and really looking at my own life, to experience making twice as much, we actually have to work a whole lot less. We have to get out of the day-to-day operations of our
Yes.
business. And the way we do that is with leverage. This is why the book is called The Leveraged Business. It might not seem logical at first that you have to get out of your business for it to grow. But if you are the bottleneck, if you have a hand in every stock pot stirring everything, you can't really be the executive chef in the kitchen. You're just too mired in the details. And so the entire thing about the leveraged business book, the leveraged business program that I've offered for close to 20 years, is that The whole premise is to get you out of doing everything
Mhm.
with a team, and an affordable team you can trust, that is wired to take over and do the things that you don't love to do or don't know how to do. Take that off your plate so you can think. And then the team creates the systems so that instead of it depending on you, you begin to create a leverage, a, how do you say this? A systems and processes leveraged business that doesn't require you. And then you start to get back your time from here, from here, from here, from here. And now you have time to work on exponential growth activities. You have time to create a new way of delivering your your results to your clients and customers in a way that doesn't require you. And so I'm just giving you a top line summary, but we can unpack anything that you want to. But the whole point is you have to get out of doing everything if
Yes.
you want to grow, and if you want evenings back, and if you want weekends back, and if you want to be able to go on vacation and not say to the kids, one more email and mommy will be right there. That's how you do it. Get out of doing everything by leveraging every aspect of your business.
I love that, and I can just hear my audience thinking, "Oh, but nobody will do it as well as I
Yes.
do."
Yes. So I want to talk about that if I may, because
Yes,
this
please
actually even
do.
just it comes up every day. So when you started your business, you had more time than you had money, right?
Mhm,
Every one of us. So we and we're lone rangers, and we're control enthusiasts, right?
mhm,
So we're gonna do everything ourselves. We go into this false uh, false belief that we can do it best only because we've done it by ourselves this whole time. What I want to tell you is you are not doing it best if you're trying to do a million things at the same time. You can't be doing the best at everything
mhm.
and still be the visionary to grow your business and still have a life. And so the myth is that you can do it better, faster, and more consistently, but at what price?
Hmm.
I used to have I used to earlier on send think about what book or what Christmas gifts or birthday gifts I would send to individual clients and write a card, handwritten note. And as the business grew to hundreds and hundreds, it was not sustainable anymore. And my team did an intervention with me and said, "You can't. You have to like let us do Amazon or let us do send out cards or something." I'm like, "No, it won't be the same." And they're like, "Fabienne, it's May and you haven't even set February gifts." So there gets to be a point in your business that there's no more time and no more of you to go around, and you will need to let go. But the time that you take to train in a leveraged way by writing checklists and procedures down or having your team do that, let's say it takes an hour to describe a process. There, you do it once, and then you set it and forget it. There are systems that I created 20 years ago, let's say for how to handle my email, how to handle my scheduling, how to handle, when I walk into a room, there's going to be tissues, there's going to be flowers, there's going to be pens, and the pens are going to look exactly the same way. I haven't documented that in 20 years. It lives on without you. So it's a myth that you can do it better. There are people who can do it. They just need to know how you do it.
So what I'm hearing that is so important, it's something I preach with my clients is systems, systems, systems. Systems at home, systems in business. I have a system with laundry. If it gets into the hamper Friday's laundry day, then it gets washed. If it doesn't,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
yeah,
And it's that's the day and that's the system. Um, and it's one of those things that I actually enjoy doing around the house is laundry. So I still do that in between things. But systems for every process in our business, this is so important. And our VAs, our virtual assistants, for those of you who are kind of new to business, our virtual assistants will have a sense, usually they have a sense of what a system will look like, but we can develop it. And like you say, it takes a little more time up front, but it saves us so much time down the road, so much time.
And when everything is documented, every aspect of your business, whether it's marketing, sales, client service, client onboarding, just, everything, when that is documented and documented well and followed by all, you are not needed in these things. You are not needed. There are fewer fires to put out. You're not whack-a-moling your business. You're not reacting. You find yourself with people who work with me in within 3 to 6 months, they get back 3 to 6 hours a day. And with that, you start thinking differently about your time. You start thinking about the 80-20 rule of how to leverage your time. If you understand the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, you know that 80% of your activities, so let's just say 80% of your time. So if you have a 10-hour day, 8 out of 10 hours of your time are producing only 20% of results and income, versus 20% of your activities or hours of your day, 2 hours of your day, are producing 80% of the results. And when you start thinking about that and you get time to think again, you're like, wait, hold up. What am I doing here? Why am I spending 8 hours a day doing things that don't move the needle? Where if I could just spend 2 hours a day doing things that do produce results and then increase that to 4 or 5 hours a day, that's all you need to do.
Exactly.
And so when you hear
let the other 80% go,
delegate, automate, eliminate, delegate, automate, eliminate. And when you can, so many of us can be reactionary in our business growth, but when you have time to think and when you give yourself the permission, and the permission train isn't coming, you give yourself permission to say no, 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 no to all these things, you get time again to be super strategic about how to grow your business. And this is where you go from 10K a month to 20K a month, and a year later to 50K a month, and 2 to 3 years later to 100K a month. It can go that rapidly.
Wow. I love that. Well, you and I have so much in common in the way we approach this. I have a formula that I call HBDO, Dr. Barnsley's HBDO formula, and it is hire, barter, delegate, omit. And the O is my favorite. Omit it. What Pareto, by the way, those of you all who don't know the 80-20 rule, Pareto was this Italian economist. And he found out that 20% of the Italians owned 80% of the wealth. And he realized that this principle could be applied to many, many parts of our lives and our businesses, and if we're focusing on the things that produce the greatest results, those revenue generating activities that are high level, then we can let go of the other stuff and we can eliminate a lot of it. Yes, I love it. I love it. And I love the way you think of, let's have that $100,000 month. Yes, let's have $100,000 month.
But it happens all the time. In fact, if I think it's a question of finding the evidence that it exists. So I often tell people, go to my website, Bold Heart, and just binge the videos there of people again and again and again, or go to YouTube, or find the evidence somewhere in your life. But people are making 100K a month more. I've been at multiple seven figures for 15 years. It exists everywhere. It's just we don't usually have access to that information. There's a whole body of knowledge about how to do it that is not available publicly. Right? You have to invest in yourself to get it. or else
Mhm.
everybody would be doing it. But there's a whole body of possible knowledge that no one has access to about how to create a business model where you can work with 10 times the people that you're working with now, working only, 1 or 2 hours a week, how to get a team that grows your business for you, and just checks in with you. There is a particular type of person that costs the same as all the other people. But knowing that this exists, you start to put these pieces into place. And then it's like, wow, as in the book Think and Grow Rich, you start the money comes in so rapidly that you wonder where it has been hiding all those lean years. It's a question of getting access to the knowledge that you don't have, and then also, um, being not alone in your business,
Mhm.
especially as a woman, being surrounded so that when you have that divine download, when you have that great idea, when you read a book, you attend a podcast, great podcast like yours, when you go to a seminar and you have these brilliant ideas, you don't talk yourself out of it.
I love that. Yes, right. You go for it. And you go for it no matter what. I love that. You're raising the bar, I think, for so many people listening. I know you're raising the bar for me as I listen, and I feel successful in my business. But you know what? I always say there is another level in for all of us. Every single one of us. We
Yeah.
never get, this is one of the things I love about business. We never get to a point where it's like, oh, I know it all. I am
Never.
fine
I
now.
don't know it all. I have so much to learn. Oh, so much to learn.
Exactly. There, and I love what you're saying. It's sort of the Da Vinci Code of business, right? There's this whole amount of knowledge, body of knowledge, that when you get associated with people who have this, when you invest in yourself and get access to it, when you find somebody who's doing what you want to do and you work with them, you mentor with them, you coach with them, then you get yourself to believe. You see the evidence, and you're also given the steps and the what's the word I'm looking for? Just the motivation, the the
Inspiration.
yeah, the stick to itness, the
Yeah.
perseverance to
Accountability
do
is
it.
what we
The
call it.
accountability, absolutely. And I love, boy, accountability is the secret. And I think it must be, I always talk about this, it must not be just some accountability partner. It needs to be a group that we're accountable to.
Can I
And
speak to this for a second? Just to not that it needs validation or confirmation, but because
yes.
I've I've worked with so many people, what I've learned is that, uh, most of us entrepreneurs, 95% of us entrepreneurs are wired the same way. How do I know this? Because I ask the members of the leveraged business program to take two assessments,
Mm,
and so I've seen thousands and thousands of results, and I can predict how 95% of us are wired the same way. And let me explain how we're wired. The majority of us are high idea generators.
mhm,
I got so many ideas. I'm going to start so many projects. Entre- the word entrepreneur comes from the French verb entreprendre. And
mhm,
entreprendre means to initiate. So we are wired as initiators. We love to start
mhm.
things. And when you see the scores on the two different assessments, we're also not wired to finish them.
Right. We are not mechanics. We don't want to do the details. I want to ask you really quickly, Fabienne, what are the two assessments that you use?
The Strengths Finder and the Colby.
I love the Colby and I love StrengthsFinder. Awesome.
Yep.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we are quick starts, and I talk about this in my book, The Leveraged Business, in chapter two.
Mhm.
Chapter two, one of them. Chapter one,
I
leverage
can
your
look
team.
it
Yeah,
up.
it's chapter one, leverage your team.
Mhm.
How I talk about it's really important to surround yourself with people who are wired opposite from you, who can
Mm,
finish what you start. And when you understand that you are wired to start new things but not finish them, you can then have some compassion for yourself and say, okay, what do I need to do to finish what I've started, because most of us think that we're working really, really hard and wondering why we're not getting results. It's because there's so much unfinished business. And if you were to get accountability, but like you said, accountability from an intentional community, not your neighbor, not your friend who doesn't have a
Mhm.
business, not your friend who has a business making 2,000 a year. You want somebody who's on the same level with the same values,
Yes.
going for that multiple 6 and 7 figures if that's what you're going after. There's a
Yep.
whole new level of accountability where they've got your back, you've got their back, you hold each other accountable, but it cannot be free accountability. What I mean by that is everybody's got to have skin in the game. Otherwise, oh, had a little bit too much to eat or drink last night. I'm not going to show up to hold you accountable. Oh, I'm going away for a couple months. That is not the kind of accountability you want. You want it from somebody who's also on the same path that you're on, and who is taking it seriously and who is invested in themselves. You can do it the other way. I'm sure we all have, because I have, but then people start to be disinterested when the rubber meets the road.
Mhm. Very, very true. I love this. Yes, absolutely. And I love that you're using the Colby and the Strengths Finder. I'm definitely quick start and fact finder, high
Yeah.
quick start, high fact finder, and I have just a tiny one of implementer,
Mhm, mhm.
which means I've got to have somebody who's going to keep me, yeah, I have my VA do this particular graph, and I say, you've got to give it to me Wednesday or Thursday, and I need to see where you are with everything. Just put it in a graph. I don't want to see a lot. I just want to see it in one fell swoop. Um, and that works. So I can see, oh yes, here's what I want you to do here to bring that to conclusion. But it has to be that we have someone who balances out where we are, who will implement, who will take it through. So how
Mhm.
many members of a team do you need for I'm thinking about, what are people thinking? How many members of a team do you need, Fabienne, to get to 7 figures
For
and beyond?
me, I had 8 part-time
Mhm,
VAs to get to 7 figures. And the reason I was offering lots of different programs at the time. So I had
mhm,
a person who was an operations lead,
mhm.
and like a business manager, and then I had a tech VA. I had, a client, um, a client. What do you call that? Client care VA. I
Right.
was somebody running my inner circle. There was
Mm,
somebody in each spot, and it was more like an accountability chart
mhm.
rather than just a whole mishmash of VAs. And I actually had one that mentor said to me, Fabienne, you'll never get your business to 7 figures with a VA. I'm like, watch me do it, and I did it. But then at one point, you do want to start. If you want to be at multiple 7 for a long time, every year, and have your life back, you're going to need some more robust help. But I don't have a single full-time person working for me now.
I really like how you've divided it up too. I think that's excellent. I've just taken on a second VA, and
Hmm.
they're going to be on the podcast. They're going to be all about the podcast.
Yeah.
I love the way you've put it so that, yeah, this person's doing the inner circle, this person's doing this program, this person is all about, customer care, customer service. That is a real gem, everybody listening, especially those who are new in business. Don't make the mistake of thinking that you must do all of this and that you must have someone who can do all of this. You
Well,
can
the
have
thing is, if
a
if if
part-time person.
if you want to grow and you're only working with one person, if she takes a single week of vacation,
Exactly.
she's involved with everything, so everything has to stop, or then you have to take it back yourself. If she leaves, you have to like retrain. But if you have little
Exactly.
divided roles, you can swap people out and cover. They can cover for each other.
And as long as you have a really great systems manual, where every process is cut down to a checklist that,
Yeah, can we talk about systems for a second? Because I know
yes.
you're a really big fan of processes and systems. Most of us quick starts, most of us who are high idea generators, are
Mhm.
people who have a personality driven business, right? It used to be the Fabienne show. Like it was Fabienne, little Fabienne on the phone coaching you 30 minutes a week, kind of thing. But I remember when I got to 32 clients and there's no more of me and no more time to go around. And so then I started thinking, gosh, I cannot scale myself.
Yeah.
But what does scale is processes. What scales is consistency. What scales is predictability. And when you learn, so as you're listening to this, everybody, when you learn that there's actually freedom attached to creating some structure in your business, because we all kind of resist structure naturally with how we're wired. When we can begin to see structure as being the giver of freedom. That's how
Mhm.
you get your evenings back. That's how you can take, 14 weeks of vacation a year. We start to really embrace, like Barnsley says, just like writing down everything, having checklists, having systems. And that is how your business can be scaled. So, what we're looking for, if I may, since we're talking about how to go from overwhelmed at 6 figures
Mhm.
to 7 figures with our life back, is to create a process driven company,
Hmm.
not a personality driven company.
This is huge. This is huge. A process-driven company rather than a personality-driven company. And as I listen to that, I'm just like, yes. And that's the kind of company that when you want to leave, when you do eventually want to stop, you can sell it. A
Well, I got,
personality-driven
yep.
company is harder, I believe, to sell.
So one of our members, if you go to Bold Heart and you go to the success stories page, there you'll see a woman like named Judy. She's a redhead, and
Mhm.
she we got her business to 1 million fairly quickly. I think in 3 to 4 years. She was 70 when we took her business to 1 million. You can go look at her thing. But she texted me on WhatsApp last Wednesday. She lives in Manhattan. She texted me and um, she said, I just sold my business for 3 million.
Wow.
I was like, Judy, she's probably like 72 or 73 now. She's like, they want to keep me on board for 2 more years, and I probably can get another million afterwards. They want me to, do this. I'm buying an apartment. I'm selling my house there. I'm going to be closer to my grandchildren. I'm buying a house in Fire Island, all these things. And so I'm just dovetailing on what you brought up, which is the idea that your retirement, your legacy for yourself and for your family is in your business. We have just got to leverage your business, take it from where it is now to 100K. If you're not yet at 100K a year, to 100K a month. And then the idea is to either have your business be a cash machine with you being involved maybe 2 to 3 hours a day, or selling it down the line for millions.
Mm.
And women don't usually talk, not even men usually talk about that. Because they haven't leveraged every single aspect of their business at the end of their career, it's still sometimes a solo practice with a couple VAs, and they just shut it down. It's like, okay, I'm not doing work anymore. You don't have to have it that way. You can sell your business for millions.
All right, you all, are you listening? Are you listening? So powerful. And this can be your retirement. This can be your legacy. So many business owners don't have retirement. They don't have savings. I am absolutely appalled, Fabienne, at the number of people who are living paycheck to paycheck and the number of people who come into my programs with huge, huge amounts
Right.
of debt.
Yeah.
Huge. It's an epidemic, basically. Um, so this gives you a different way to think about how you're building your business so that it becomes an asset that, like you say, you can hang on to or you can sell. You
But
can
it
hang
gives you a
on to
choice.
or
Yeah,
sell. Yes.
exactly.
And you've got to ask yourself the question, how much do I want to be in this business? How much do I want to stay in it? In your example of Judy, there came a moment where she wanted to step out and do other things.
She
Uh,
has two little grandkids. She just wants to hang out with
yeah,
them.
she wants to spend time with them for sure. Exactly. And
And
go
she,
do
by
all.
the way, you mentioned the Delicious Life retreat in Provence. She came to my first Delicious Life retreat, and the it changed everything for her also.
Beautiful. Tell us a bit about the Delicious Life Retreat, because I can just hear the listener thinking, "Oh, that just sounds so yummy."
Yeah, if you want to see, if you go to Instagram or even Facebook and you put hashtag a delicious life, you'll see images from it. But basically, it's where a small community of women, most of them come from the US and some of them from the UK, come and spend a little less than a week with me in Provence. And we talk about the idea of having it all. And what does it mean to have it all as a business owner? What does your version of a delicious life look like? What does having it all, according to you, mean to you? And while I take them around the lavender fields and the olive tastings, and
Yes.
we cook together and we laugh together, and there's rose flowing, we have these profound conversations that move them on a cellular level, and they come back and they just change everything. It's really powerful to give yourself that gift of 5 days outside of your normal environment to say, what do I really want? Am I just working for my business, sacrificing my life to grow it, but for what? If I'm not fulfilled, if I'm not happy, if I'm not blissful. So we work on all of that other stuff. And miraculously, that's when you feel blissful, happy, it grows your business as well.
Mm. Did everybody get that? When you feel blissful and happy. I'm a big believer in breaks, Fabienne. And, so often people do the opposite in their business when things are slowing down. They just kind of grip onto it and say, I'm going to ride this thing, like a bucking bronco. And that's the time that I've found, and working with a lot of people, I've found that you've got to get off, just get off and go do something you enjoy. Take a walk. Go spend a few days out of your normal environment, as you put it. Go take a little day trip, even,
Yeah,
but get into another environment. Go take yourself to the coffee shop and just read and write for an afternoon. Get yourself back to feeling filled up, right? Because when you feel filled up, then you're going to naturally be in that flow state, and it'll be so much easier to see what is really essential and what can be eliminated. And you'll
exactly.
you'll be blissful. And it becomes a really attractive piece. As you say, as you point out, you become magnetic then.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You
very
can
much.
read more about it at, I think it's retreat.boldheart.com.
Retreat.boldheart.com, you
Yep.
all.
And the next one, I'm doing the next one next week, and
Oh,
the
wow.
following one is in September.
In September. And both of those times of the year are beautiful in Provence, I would
They
guess.
are. It's
Oh, I love that. I can
gorgeous.
just
Yeah.
see the lavender fields, and it's perfect, right? Because lavender is great for stress, and it just relaxes you.
Yeah.
Wow, Fabienne, you have given us so much to think about today.
Mm.
You really have. And I hope that those of you listening have been taking notes, and I hope you'll go back and listen to this again and again, because there are some real gems in here that if you take them to heart and you begin where you are right now, just to work, to have a VA, get a part-time VA. I've got ideas for you for that. I'm happy to help. Just hit me up on Facebook, you all, or go to my website, spirited-solutions.com. I have two VA companies that I'm using, and they're both a little different, but I really like them. Fabienne is there with her team to help you, but don't try to go it alone, because we all know what happens to lone wolves is they starve in the
Mm.
cold, and it's no fun. you
Yeah, I
know,
love that. Yeah.
And as women, we need, as you pointed out, we begin to doubt ourselves. We begin to become disheartened sometimes, or just to feel lonely even when we're working in our business by ourselves. It's so essential that we give ourselves community, and a community that's aligned with what we really want to create. So Fabienne, I know you have something special for everyone. And if you
Yes.
go into the Bold Badass Business Freebie Vault, and you all, the Freebie Vault is found at bit.ly/free from Dr. B. And the doctor is spelled DR. Let me say it again, bit.ly/free from Dr. B. And I've got so much good stuff in there from our guests that's just for you. Thousands and thousands of dollars of amazing special sessions, books, ebooks, courses, checklists. And Fabienne's going to be giving us something incredible. So tell them
Mm.
what you are contributing. It's amazing.
Well, just to continue this conversation and to bring the concepts of leverage alive, I'm happy to gift you, anybody who wants it, a copy of my physical book, The Leveraged Business. Yeah, there it is. The Leveraged Business, how you can go from overwhelmed at six figures to seven figures with your life back. Even if you're not at six figures yet, please read it so that you understand um, what your trajectory is. You could get it on Amazon and pay for it, but I would happy to print it and give it to you if you just cover a nominal shipping fee.
Mhm.
You can go to boldheart.com. It'll be in the tab called free book. I want you
Mhm.
to also go to the film. There's a 9-minute documentary about how women succeed in business. That's also in the nav bar. Um, and then I have a free class that I'm doing every month. It's at the top of boldheart.com. Come and spend a half a day with me, and I'll take every single one of the 8 leverage activators, and I will be happy to cover it. And we'll work on your business and have you map out a plan to grow. So that's all on boldheart.com. My pleasure for you to have all these things.
And we're going to put it in the vault, you all, so you can go in. And here's the thing about the vault that I love. When you go in to get Fabienne's stuff, you can also get other people's incredible stuff. So you've
Amazing.
got just like a huge library, everyone, that you can choose from there. And Fabienne, if you will have your team send a quick uh, one sentence about each of those things right there, we will make sure it gets into the vault for everyone,
Happy to.
and will be there. It will be there, you all. Isn't that lovely? You got just this library that you can avail yourselves of. I definitely know I want to come and do one of your complimentary classes. That just sounds like a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
you'll love it.
Yes, that would be great. So, Fabienne, thank you again for coming. Those of you who are listening, I know that you're already a bold, badass business owner, or you wouldn't be listening. And maybe you feel like right now things aren't going as well as you
Mm.
want. Well, that's what we're here for. And we're here every Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific. Tune in. Don't miss a single episode. What incredible guests we have. And go to bit.ly/free from Dr. B, and just called it that. It's all these incredible guests, but I wanted to make it easy for you to remember so that you can go there and avail yourselves of everything that they have. And we will be including Fabienne's information in the next week. Woohoo! So, Fabienne, thank you so much. Again, you all, she's going to send you this book, and all you have to do is pay the shipping. Oh my God. By the way, I paid for mine, y'all. I bought mine off of Amazon. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
use this. Use this
Mm,
incredible offer. Thank you, Fabienne.
thank
Everyone,
you.
go forward, make a difference. Remember that you matter. Your business matters. Your voice matters on the planet, and somebody's life depends on you. See you next week.